Hi everyone, this is Brianna from A Frugal Life, and today we're going to be talking about how to get out of the minimum wage rut. So I'm a prime example of the situation of how you can work at a good, decent paying job without having a college degree. So I'm going to start by telling you my story, and that's the first example that I have for you on how to get out of the minimum wage rut. I did it myself, and I'm going to tell you how I did it and how you can do it too. If that doesn't work for you, I have 4 more examples of things you can do to get out of minimum wage, stop working for that fast food restaurant, stop getting stuck at a job without benefits, without vacation, and stop being stuck in that minimum wage rut. So let's start with my story. When I was 17 years old, I dropped out of high school. So let's start with my story. Way back when in the olden days, when I was 17 years old, I dropped out of high school. I was working full-time at a dry cleaners, making a minimum wage, living with my boyfriend who was also working a minimum wage job. Later on, I moved to a retail location where I worked for both a jewelry store and then a chocolate store, Godiva to be exact, also making a minimum wage. After about a year of trying to survive on just minimum wage, and this was way back when minimum wage was even less than it is now, I realized that I couldn't do this forever. I was going to school part-time to get my diploma and going to school part-time at a community college to eventually get a degree, but I couldn't wait that long. I needed to make good money right away. So the first thing I did was take account of my skills. I knew how to type, and I knew how to type pretty well. Even though computers weren't a big thing back then, I did actually learn typing in high school, and I had about a speed of 35 words per minute, which if you work in an office, you know is not that great, but it's decent enough to get you a beginning level job. I also didn't have a lot of computer skills. I didn't know Word and Excel and all of those things, but I was totally willing to learn, and I was a little bit tech savvy, and then I learned skills like that pretty quickly. The thing I did, because we did not have a computer at the time, was go on down to the local library, look up books on resumes, and made myself a beginning resume. And don't worry about if you only have retail experience. Put your retail experience on there. It's still job experience, it still shows you have a work ethic, it still shows that you have a job history. So the next thing I did was I took that resume down to the nearest temp agency in my town, and I asked them to get me any job possible in an office. They were totally willing to work with me. If you do have job experience, even if it's retail, they will put you to work. It just may be entry level. I talked to the temp agency at the time, and they told me that the job pay would be kind of low, but it was like 50 cents more than minimum wage, so I took it. I worked at numerous jobs that first year, but there was a benefit to working for the temp agency, even though there were lots of little jobs. One, they worked with me to improve my resume, and they helped me create it right there on the spot. They had professional resume writers, and they were willing to give me their resources in order to get me better jobs, because temp agencies only make money if they put you to work. The other benefit of a temp agency is that they have free classes. The classes are online right now, but they do have classes in person. If later on the line, after COVID's all over, you do need to take classes in computers and you don't have a computer at home, you can take classes at the temp agencies for free on their computers. So they will teach you the Word, Excel, any office skills that you need to know on their programs. They'll let you come in and do it on their computers, or they'll let you do it at home. And as you increase your skills, they increase your test scores in the system and increase your jobs that they give out to you. So they will continue to up your pay and continue to give you better and better jobs in the temp agency as you work your way up. You just have to be willing to work really hard and learn as much as you possibly can. The other thing I did while I was working temp was I told the temp agency that I wanted to work temp to perm eventually. And I told them that I eventually wanted to be an admin or customer service. I didn't want to be a file clerk forever. So they worked with me, because I was a hard worker, on moving those skills up and getting better and better jobs. And eventually they did get me into a temp to perm receptionist job. This receptionist job lasted me for 5 years. I went from temporary to permanent. I got amazing benefits, and I learned on the job how to be a great worker and a great receptionist. In addition, while I was there, I asked for increasingly harder jobs and projects so that I could learn more on the job. I also got great references from that job, which I continue to use to this day, many, many years later. The story is kind of long, it goes over many years, but I moved from file clerk to receptionist to administrative assistant to executive administrative assistant to customer service, and then to customer service manager. So I moved my way up through lots and lots of jobs. My coworkers and my peers in my jobs had college degrees while I still didn't have one, but it was okay because I worked hard and was willing to learn how to do it. So you don't have to stay stuck in a minimum wage job. If you're willing to start at the bottom and work really hard and work your way up, you just need to learn skills in your off hours like typing and computers, and you can learn these totally free online, and there's no excuse not to learn them if you have a library in your town. So if you can get to the library in your town, you can learn the skills there, on their computers there, and from books there, and from free online classes. I do have a link up above, in the card up above, with some free online classes that you can take to improve your office skills. And you can also learn them at the temp agencies like I did. So don't worry, I know that working at temp agencies and working an office job for the rest of your life is not what some of you want to do, and it's not. I know lots of people who need to work outside, who need to work with their hands, who need to be more technical or work on mechanics. There's lots of other things that you can do as well. So my second tip for getting a job that's not minimum wage, that's got good benefits, and that will boost you up the career ladder is to join the military. Now, I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but you need to think long and hard about the opportunities that it might give you. So if you're not a military person or you're not happy with the military, don't go away or skip ahead to the next one, because we do have non-military jobs that I'm going to talk about. But joining the military is actually a very patriotic thing to do. It's helpful to your country, and they give you so many benefits. So you'll get health benefits, you'll get career opportunities, you'll get the opportunity to go for school and get education for free, and you'll get job experience. So if you're very young and you have no job experience, you don't have a family yet, and you have the opportunity to go into the military, that's another option for you to get out of the retail workforce and into a job that you'll love and a job that you can use. So my grandfather was career military. He had a military career, and then when he retired from that career, he was able to use his education and his skills from the military in a civilian job. So I know from firsthand experience that military can give you experience that you need without having to pay a huge amount for a college degree. So the third one we're going to talk about is something that is near and dear to my heart because many of my friends have done it, and that is to join a union. So this is a US based video right now. I'm not sure how it works in other countries, but I do know in our country, and in the state that I live in at least, there are a lot of different unions you can join. You can join the electrical union, the plumbers union, they have masonry unions, they have all different sorts of trade unions that you can join. All you have to do is have a GED or a high school degree for some of them. You can get that if you don't have it through a adult education program, and if you do have it, you can join them right away. They're often looking for workers, and don't overlook this if you're a female, because many of them are even more eager to get female workers into these trades. So they will give you extra help and tips and classes and things to join the union and get you in even easier than maybe if you were a male. So unions can be an amazing career. They will give you skills, they will give you experience, they will teach you on the job, they give you opportunities to join different organizations and become a leader in the union and in other situations. They will teach you management. They will give you experience that if you do get out of the union, you can get private jobs with. And they additionally give you hours and hours of classes and training to learn a skill. So you can quickly move up the ladder and in a few years be making double or triple what you would in a retail minimum wage position. Number 4 is something a little bit outside the box, but this is actually what my husband was doing when I met him, and that is apprenticing to someone else to learn a trade. So he was apprenticing to be a tattoo artist. So if you want to be a tattoo artist or another similar art field like photography or even fine arts, sometimes you can find somebody who will apprentice you, and they will teach you all the skills you need to know while you're doing things like cleaning up the shop and packing up their tattoo needles and taking the money and doing the minor things around the shop that they don't want to do. But they will teach you the skills, they will help you build your skills, they will help you build a clientele, and it is actually a big thing in the tattoo world to apprentice somebody, as have them come up behind you as like their prodigy. So if you're willing to do something like that, you can make over $50 an hour or more doing something like that. You just have to work your way into it and work yourselves up as an apprentice. Even if you're working another job at the time, you still have time after hours or on your days off to apprentice with somebody to learn a skill. So apprenticeship is a great way to learn a skill that you can make big time money down the line and maybe even own your own shop or your own business. Number 5, and it's going to sound a little bit crazy, but is to reconsider the service industry. So I know I just told you to get out of minimum wage and stop working in the service industry. So I'm not talking about working retail like in the mall, but I'm talking about actually in the service and hospitality industry. So if you work in a hotel or a bar or a restaurant, you can actually move your way up pretty quickly if you work really hard and are willing to take those shifts that nobody else wants. If you're willing to do the jobs that nobody else wants and learn how to do things like do the banks and the cash out outs and things like that, you can work your way up, and people in the service industry have the opportunity to make a lot in tips. So if you work as a waitress in a high-end restaurant eventually, or you work in a bartender in a big club, you can make bank in tips. Put those aside, use our frugal tips, save up, and you can do things like put yourself through school or decide to follow a different career path. But it's actually not a bad thing to work in the service industry. I have family members who have worked there their entire lives, and my mother ended up buying a business as a bartender. My brother is a manager in a bar. So you can work in the service industry, and at times they've made more per hour than I have, or more per year than I have, working in those industries. So just think outside the box in the industry that you're already in, and there are ways to move up. You don't have to stay stuck or settle for a minimum wage. So that's it. If you like this video, please comment down below. I'm going to put my subscribe button over here, and I'm going to put some videos over here that you may like, and there's some links down below that are going to help you move forward in your career path. And I will talk to you soon in the next video.